Well, kind of a last minute thing to do here, but I just wanted to explain why I went with Kubota and not John Deere. I've kind of touched on it in some previous videos back a ways. Um, a few reasons why I chose Kubota over John Deere, and I just wanted to really kind of explain the whole story of what happened and why I chose Kubota over John Deere and stuff. In the beginning, I was looking at John Deere more because the dealership for John Deere is, what is it? It's about a little about 10 minutes away, and the dealership where I got this is about 20 minutes or so. So I like the idea that John Deere is closer. I know lots of people that own John Deere's and really like them, and I don't know, John Deere's a big name, and I thought it'll either be a John Deere, Kubota. I didn't care too much, and so I went over to talk to John Deere, and I my experience there was just it wasn't good at all, really. When I went there, the salesman he didn't really seem like he knew what he's talking about. Honestly, um, didn't really seem like he wanted to sell me a tractor. He just seemed kind of, I don't know, like I was wasting his time or something. I don't know. It was just an odd situation. So I didn't think too much of that. He also didn't seem like he knew his products that he's selling either, very much. Like the 3038E um, has a turbo for the aspiration on it. And I we went out to a lot, and I mentioned that I like the idea that these have a turbo versus the 3032E. Um, and he's just like, I don't think they do. And he didn't even know that they had a turbo. So I was right away. I'm like, that's kind of odd. And then he didn't really seem like he wanted to talk too much about like different things. And then anytime he would talk, he was always trying to get me to buy something else. It seemed like there was a 30 whatever that other one was. It was an R though. They're a lot more stuff, mid PTO, all that stuff. And it seemed like he was just kind of taking me all over. And it's like, no, this is the like model I'm looking for. I don't. Yeah, mid PTO, I'd maybe use it if I had it. I mean, you could find implements or whatever, but for what I was going to be using that tractor for was more utility type stuff, brush hogging, loader work, uh, have a rear blade, the blade stuff, pushing brush around. I also wanted something that's higher than, say, the 2 Series in John Deere or the B Series in Kubota, because these sit up a little higher, and they're just built beefier. The back ends, I mean, there's a lot more beef to them. And then they're a little more weight, so you got more shove and everything. And then the displacement in the engine's bigger, even if the horsepower is the same. There's more torque. So I just, that's why I wanted something like that. Well, I'm gonna try to make this as short as possible, but really explain stuff about this. But going into it, I was not biased towards either brand. I didn't care really if I had a Kubota or John Deere. Um, that's changed now a little bit. I'm more biased towards orange, but I don't care what you have. I like tractors. I really enjoy watching all these channels out there with different tractors, brands, sizes, whatever. It's just fun. I enjoy watching them. And that's why these are a lot of fun to make. I enjoy using this. I get to be outside, out to the farm today and stuff. Um, but anyways, he just didn't seem like he really knew what he was selling. There was something else I can't remember what it was. Um, that just really surprised me. I'm like, why wouldn't you know that? And it just didn't seem like he knew very much about the smaller tractors. I don't know if he was more of a salesman for the bigger ones or what the deal was, but he just didn't. I don't know. He just didn't really seem like he cared if he sold me one. I I don't know if that's. I'm sure it's not the same everywhere, but that was my experience. So, and another reason why I went with Kubota, not John Deere, like I said in the previous video, the loader is just smoother. I mean, they're both smooth and everything, but to be able to curl and lift that boom at the same time, or go like this, that was a big selling point for me. And I've rented a L4701 before, and man, that thing is so smooth, and it's effortless to find that spot there where it does both. It's effortless. Uh, Even on the BX series, I know guys that have them, they can just go. It's real easy. So that was a big selling point for me. And this compared to the 3032E John Deere, um, this one, like I said before, weighs quite a bit more. Really, I forget what I said before, but it was quite a bit, anyways. Because they're aluminum in the back end and all that, but I don't, you know, some other people pointed out, but it's got really thick axles. It just seems like a more beefier tractor to me. Um, as far as metal and plastic, I think that's a wash. Like Goodworks tractors, he had a video with the hoods, and everything. It's a wash. That there's pros and cons to both of them. That to me is, I mean, this hood's metal, but it's not real sturdy. I mean, I have a Simplicity lawn tractor, which I'm gonna trade up here. Uh, the hoods seem about the same to me. They're both metal, so I mean, I think they're both pretty good. So that's to me that's a wash. Uh, the seat on the John Deere is a little bit better than this one, if I remember right. This one is pretty tough. And it got two little springs in the back for, you know, your suspension or whatever, which does nothing. It's a pretty rough ride, really. Uh, I think, but I'm also, uh, but anyways, to get back to the John Deere, that's why I didn't. A lot of reasons why I didn't go with John Deere. That salesman just, I don't know. I wanted somebody to sell me a tractor, and but then I went. It was actually a few months later. I went to the other place, looked at these. I know lots of guys had these too and just love them. They think they're great. They do everything they need, whatever. So went over to talk to a guy about this, and my experience there was quite a bit better than John Deere's. I mean, there's always things you can make better or whatever, but uh, he really knew about his tractors at where I got this. I mean, he really knew everything about them. I had questions and he could just answer them, right away without having to look them up or whatever. And so quite a bit better. With due to what's going on in the world nowadays, it was a little tough to get this guy. It took, what was it, 2.5 to 3 weeks, I think, before I could actually go pick it up. It took a little while to get it in. And their tractor sales just went through the roof. Every dealership, John Deere, all of them, with everything going on, just tractor sales. I was going to buy one last year either way. I just happened to be in the middle of this big mess. But and then when he was going around with me, I was talking about loader work, and he said you'll need some ballast on the back, or whatever. But that's as far as he went with that. In my opinion, he should have gone farther. Treat me as a guy that doesn't know, because I really didn't understand ballast, and why the back end is so light. If it can lift that much, how come it's not ballast? I mean, to me that just doesn't make any sense. But I'm sure there must be a reason for it. I don't know it. If there's a good reason, I really don't understand it. So, that was all really new to me. Our old Ford has fluid in the tires too, and it's from the 60s. So that's just something I didn't understand and found out really fast. I went to pick up dirt with it, on the tractor. Yeah, it didn't work. But so I don't know. And I also didn't go with anything bigger than this, because, well, just price. Because this cost, with the block heater, loader, the quick hitch, it was right around 24,800 is what it cost. And that was with the promotions at the time. It differs year to year. But I didn't go with anything bigger, and I didn't really want anything small. Like I said, this was it was the perfect size. And I thought, do do I need a 3901 or a 3301? The 2501 was going to be a little too small a horsepower, I thought. I just, I don't know, I wanted something just a little bit more. And and then I was looking at the other ones, like, man, is there really that much of a jump? You know, am I going to really get this much done that much quicker? And I am, and it was almost 2,000 more for the 3901. So, um, this, no problem. uh, I, I'm so impressed with the power this thing has. It does everything I need it to do. You know, it's a perfect size for what I'm doing. Uh, and everything about it, you know, it has what I'm going to be doing, what I need. And then also that skid steer quick attach. I don't think I mentioned that before. That was another big reason why I like this over John Deere too. That's almost standard on all their models anymore. That was a big seller for me, along with the loader. Big sellers. It's so easy to find that spot in there. So that was a big deal. And also to be able to take that loader on and off, like I said before, that was the whole loader was almost like the biggest selling point for me personally. Because like I said, when I'm brush hogging, that is so nice to be able to take that off there. And the lights actually weren't too bad either on the front. They work really nice. I thought they're really good. They have kind of like a low and a high beam to them or whatever, so you can, even if you have the loader kind of up, you can kind of flip it up and you can still see decent. The rear, you got nothing. They barely glow. If you have your flashers on, every time it flashes, you'll be able to see something. But otherwise, I seldom ever drive this at night, so it's not a real big deal for me personally. But if I was going to be doing stuff at night, backing up the implements or something, forget it. You can't see. You'd have to. There's lots of light kits you can get, you know, put on the ROPS or you know whatever you want to do. But yeah, I those are the biggest reasons though why I went with John or Kubota here. Um, I think that's. Oh, and then the um, oil change, you know, at the 50-hour mark, I got that. I wanted to make sure I got that. And then it also has the hydraulic filters, just the filters at that 50-hour. That's why I say it's a good thing to look at your manual. I really encourage you to do that. I was going into it thinking, you know, I know enough about these tractors. I've researched them. I've used them a little bit. I know what I'm doing. Well, no, I'm new to this, and there's some stuff actually, and there's a lot in the manual than I thought there'd be. Most manuals that come with stuff just don't really have anything to me. And I'm a guy, you know, we don't look at manuals. You see the manual, you think, kindling for the fire. But so, anyways, looked in there more at different stuff, and there was a lot more good information there than I thought. So really encourage you to do that. Um, but also with the ballast situation, I I don't think it'll be pushing the weight of my trailer. That's another thing. I have an aluminum trailer. It's a little bit on the lighter duty end because I just have a half-ton truck, which I mean it can haul this stuff, but you know you don't want to be pushing it too far and everything. And so I still think I'll be okay. Eventually I might get liquid in the tires because it it's a pain to hook up that scoop and it makes it sit on then I have to pull up farther on the trailer. It doesn't work the greatest really. Um, so I might have to invest in that because that would give me what I've seen roughly about 600 pounds of ballast, so around 300 per tire if I'm correct. And those are big tires, industrial. That are big tires, so there's a lot of room in there. So I think that's probably what I end up doing at some point. Um, let's see, you know, and then just how quiet these, like I said before, how quiet these run. They're super quiet. Um, well, like I said, that yam or it just sounds like a rattly thing that drives me crazy. I've used a 1025R some before. They're decent little machines too, but that engine, I just can't believe how loud they are. Um, you know, just to drive around, and it had the good factory like cab. Well, I don't know if it's factory, but maybe it's a Curtis cab, but it's a real heavy duty one that was on it, heater and all that. Um, but it's noisy in that cab. I mean, it was terrible. It's a little bit older too, I guess. It's probably, it could be 8 years old, maybe more. I'm not sure. Um, but yeah, I think that should about cover it. Um, oh, one other thing. Too, with the PTO to engage it, you do it like an old tractor basically. You push in the clutch and then, flip the lever forward and then you just slowly let out your foot and then let it start spinning. Now, you can't do this on the go, but like John Deere, they always advertising the 3032E. It's got the pull up switch. Yeah, maybe that'd be nice, but at the same time, that's a pretty abrupt, turning out. It's like a lawnmower. It's like my mowers. I mean, it's abrupt. Where I prefer it this way because it just seems like it'd be on the easier on the gears, on the gearbox of the brush hog, and just on the tractor. You just slowly engage it and let that come out at low RPM and then crank it up. So that was just another thing that I don't know. I really like how Kubotas are set up. The only thing that I just I still I get fatigue in my back and leg from that treadle pedal. If I use a lot of forward and backward motion, I really don't know how people can. It's too long to really do this with your foot. I can't do it. I've tried over and over. I've tried, and you use your muscles different. It's so much more comfortable to have that twin touched. You can rest your heel and just push back and forth. To me, I don't know. That's a lot better. I don't know why they ever came up with this design. I really don't. Now, if they had it like the Grandale series I've seen, the treadle pedal is like only so wide. So I think it would be a lot more doable. That would be a lot easier. That would work. Where this, I don't know. Maybe some people it's not a problem. For me, it is a problem. That's the only drawback to this tractor. Like the main one is that treadle pedal for me. But like I said, if it isn't for you, that's fine. There's lots to talk about it. Like I said, I just enjoy tractor stuff. So, but that's my uh, story, I guess, behind why I went with Kubota and not going with John Deere. Um, but yeah, I guess I can't really think of anything else to say as far as I know. I think that was about the. I was gonna try to make it shorter, but I guess it's turned out longer than I thought. But I just really wanted to explain why I went with this. For what I was going to be doing with it. This particular model of Kubota was going to fit what I needed it to do, and still have not a super. It's got a good beef to it, but it doesn't weigh too much. But it's still, it's perfect. Let's just put it that way. For what I'm doing with it, it's perfect. So that's. I've seen some other people on here. Like orange is my new green. He had a thing explaining why he went with his. I thought that was interesting. I thought, I should do that. Explain why I did this. But yeah, that's why I did that and went with this one over John Deere. That's it. So, um, and then even like the one more little thing. Maybe I mentioned this already. I can't remember. But the plastic versus metal. Goodworks Tractors did a video on that a little bit. A little bit back there, and to me it was a wash. There's um that plastic, I think it can still be scratched. I've seen scratched plastic before, but um to me it's a wash. The hood, yeah, it's metal, but when you lift it up, I mean, it's pretty flimsy. It's not like it's a super thick metal. The fenders are though. I mean, they're tough. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind metal. In some ways, I always prefer plastic because of snow removal. It can get a little rusty, eventually. But for the most part, they build and the way they build them, and if you want that, that's what you're gonna get. So, um, yeah, and then the um, DPF system, um, that's another annoying thing. But then anything over that 26 horsepower, that's what you're gonna get. So that is the way it wants to do its thing at pretty inconvenient times once in a while. But it really does mean a lot if you're running it hot. It does it a whole lot less. I've noticed that, especially doing snow removal. And that one day I was putzing around trying to drag these logs out to cut up over here, and so I was doing more idling and stuff, and it needed to do it sooner than it was before. So, um, let's see. Yeah, I think that should do it. I'm not gonna keep blabbling on here, so that should do it for why I chose Kubota and not John Deere.